Hi everyone, my name's Dominic Presa. I'm one of the drum major candidates for next year, and I have some questions to answer for you all. I think that my past leadership team experience is really going to play a big part in how I try to work with whatever life throws at us next year. I've gotten a lot of time to work with the band community and to get to understand it and learn new techniques, and I'll bring that to the table as best I can to make next year work out. Also, I think that patience is super important, and taking the perspective of others is also a really useful skill. Next year is going to be challenging and frustrating and difficult at times, and I think that patience is going to play a big part in how we work together as a community and as a family. And stepping into one another's shoes is also going to be a real asset as we're moving forward. And also out of the box thinking, I try to bring new ideas to the table as often as possible, to be spontaneous and to be flexible and to allow others to present their ideas and to hear them out. Next year is definitely not going to be by the books at all. So we're going to need some big ideas. We're going to need some energy from the leadership team and from everyone really to make it work. I was a member of the leadership team for band last year. I've also done some leadership development programs. I've been up to some 2-week-long and a month-long course at a summer camp, teaching me a lot of leadership skills and personal skills as well. I'm also an older sibling, so I've gotten a lot of time to bond with my siblings as an older peer and to learn what it means to be a role model for them. And lastly, I'm in Mayo Honor Society, so I've done a lot of volunteer work and gotten out in the community and gotten to know some new people. I've worked in a lot of teams, and I know a lot about what works, how to make a dynamic really effective and efficient in a group of people. I have a lot of techniques for coping with stress and for dealing with expectations. The first one is lists. I love to write lists for myself and to get things out of my mind when my mind is crowded and to work more effectively. So I'll be making a lot of lists as drum major, I'm sure. Self-care, I think, is also really important. Reminding myself that I enjoy what I'm doing and continuing to enjoy it and to bring happiness and positivity up to the forefront of my mind, whatever I'm doing. I think getting a lot of sleep is also really, really important, and continuing to give my all to the program, allowing myself to make mistakes and allowing myself to grow instead of agonizing over little hiccups, as we'll all be moving forward next year. Also, trust in myself and trust in my leadership team I think is super important, and I'll be practicing that. It's not easy to do, but learning to love oneself is really important, and learning to know that your leadership team or your teammates will have your back is something that I'll try to practice, and it's something that I think is super important. And also never forgetting why I'm here, continuing to have passion and energy and love for band as a whole is something that I'll utilize as much as I can. One thing that I think is super important, and it's the first thing I'll say, is that energy matters a lot, and so I'll be bringing energy to whatever task we're facing, whether that be marching, music making, or getting to know my peers and connecting with people emotionally. I think it's important to be there and be present and not check out, because no one needs that. The time for growth and evolution, I think, is super important. So taking a step back in some cases to allow people to grow comfortable. And this mainly pertains to marching, but also making connections with people. Letting people grow comfortable and to take steps for themselves is super important. And also letting people feel out new tasks, learn to do new things, and giving them some extra help or some extra time if they need it. Also, I'll be using my position and my knowledge to take some weight off of the shoulders of those in need. Things like breaks for section leaders or time away from the group just to talk things out or to let your mind cool down, I think, is super important. And as a drum major, someone in a leadership position, I will do that to the best of my ability, as I'll finally have the ability to do that. Lastly, one of my strengths is introversion. I'm not super outgoing, especially in large groups, and that's something that I've practiced, but I've also spent a lot of time learning how to be an active listener and learning how to observe. So reaching out to those who I feel are dealing with rough times or need some help or need a shoulder to cry on or someone to talk to is something that I'll be doing a lot. And if people come to me with their problems, which I hope they do and I'm here for, taking the time to listen to them and to help them move forward on their own and to grow as people is something that I'm going to work hard to do. And then reaching out, involving people in our band community and making in-the-moment memories, doing big things or small things with people to make them happy and to make memories, things that they'll remember about band and about their lives forever. I think being there for people is super important. When I'm in a rough time, or in a rough place, I love when people reach out and get me moving, to get my mind off of whatever is troubling me. It's something super important. And that's one of the things that I'll do, to reach out to my fellow band members, and make them happier and help them out when they're in need. Thanks, everyone.